Researchers have studied all manner of obstacles to communication, from paralanguage to noise to emotional state of the listener, even to interpretation. And one area of study that's always fascinated me since I started studying communications is the findings both for and against the use of abbreviations, acronyms, and jargon in everyday speech. The intent of this presentation is to kind of explain how what are often called initialisms affect our everyday communication.
The former VP will be here on Friday. I expect every minute of the VP's PC to be taped and broadcast within 12 hours of his arrival. Something funny, Garlic, but perhaps you'd like to share it with the rest of us.
No, sir. The former vice president is a delight, sir.
Excuse me, sir. Seeing as how the VP is such a VIP, shouldn't we keep the PC on the QT? Because if it leaks to the VC, you can end up an MIA, and then we'd all be put on KP.
While this example from the 1987 film Good Morning Vietnam pokes fun at the military's use of acronyms in conversation, it's a good example of how common language for some can leave others behind. One of the problems with using acronyms and what we call initialisms is that some abbreviations mean one thing for one group of individuals, but that same reference can mean something totally different to a second set of individuals. For instance, if you're a lawyer, the ABA, or American Bar Association, is probably a well-known acronym in your circles, but if you're a banker, the ABA is the American Banker Association. This type of dual meaning causes problems when individuals use colloquial references outside their common audiences. One reason for the growth of acronyms and abbreviations in communication is the large volume of users on cell phones and social media. Researchers argue that acronyms were developed for speedy communication, but there are some who believe the shortened words derived from texting and the short character allowance of most cell phones at the time. Regardless, there are tons of examples of acronyms in the world of cell texting and social media. One only has to be online for a few minutes to get a BRB, be right back, or OMG for oh my gosh. The argument for acronyms is pretty interesting. Take for instance workers in the medical field. Without acronyms, someone could literally die before the nurse could say, "Get me the automated external defibrillator." So they just say AED. Some tasks are repetitive, so why say standard facility equipment listing when you can just say SFL? Of course, many would also argue that speed plays an important reason for using acronyms. You see it at drive-through fast food windows, where speed is essential. Acronyms will always be a part of your daily life, but as communicators, we have to decide when and how to use them. So here are 3 considerations for using acronyms. First, know your audience. Make sure they're going to understand the reference. If you lose one viewer or listener due to an unfamiliar abbreviation or initialism, that's too many. Secondly, take the entire group into account. Don't just think of one segment of the target audience when considering the correct references and the vernacular you're going to use. And finally, look at the intent of the message. If you need total and complete understanding by everyone in the community, then it needs to be void of any initialisms or abbreviations. Acronyms, abbreviations, and jargon can cause serious communication problems if not used properly and effectively. By following some of these simple steps, you'll have much more success when conveying the strategic communication objectives of your commanders. And when it comes to command information, the last thing you want is miscommunication or an unclear message.